Okay, this is a review of the debut studio album by Everything But the Girl called Eden, and it was released in June 1984. And basically, Eden, Everything But the Girl were a creation between the duo of multi-instrumentalist Ben Watt and vocalist and songwriter Tracy Thorn. They later joined in matrimony, and they've existed as a pop duo for, well, since that time. Now they currently are running separate solo careers, but they still play together, and recently released in 2023 their comeback album called Fuse. But let's get back to the debut. And what this album, I must admit, really caught my ear when I first heard it back in that year. A friend of mine who lived on the south coast in Brighton, I used to travel to see him frequently. He was a teacher, but he was very much at the front of new music, and he put this on his hi-fi, and I was absolutely stunned by the maturity of it. Eden basically was what's lush chamber orchestral jazzscapes put together with lots of Brazilian bossa nova structures and airy horns, and this combined with Tracy's throaty alto singing, and the combination was, to say the least, absolutely first class. So I'm going to review this album now. The couple met at university in Hull a few years before this creation began, and they went on to make a plethora of albums together, and I've got most of them. I think maybe 15 or so, with sort of best of compilations. Anyway, that's my basic intro as to this album, Eden. As I say, the opening cut, each and every one, is very much a slow samba flavoured pop song, and it talks about the broken side of love, and Thorn very much singing from the heart. An extract from the lyric: "You try to show me heaven but then close the door. Being kind is just a way to keep me under your thumb, and I can cry because that's something we've always done." There's trumpet on here. There's some a lovely Latin mix that glides over the sound, and it's certainly an extremely strong opener. Bittersweet is second track. This is pretty stripped back, with Tracy on acoustic guitar, lots of neat little percussion. It's beautifully sung, written by Tracy, but not very substantial from the instrumentation point of view. Almost a sort of a relic from perhaps their early folk influences, but very nice on the ear, has to be said. It's very assured and sophisticated for a debut, and that's what impressed me way back in 1984. So to track 3, and this is a beautiful song. It's once again a very slow, melodic, jazz-inspired tune. Tender Blue. You can imagine being sitting in a jazz lounge environment. There's some exquisite horns on this, trumpet, and laid back guitar, but very, very sparingly up front, acoustic guitar, and Tracy and Ben switching lead vocals. It's only 3 minutes long, but it really does captivate you, and shows what a class act these two are. Another bridge follows. Really getting into this now. There's some very sort of understated organ by Ben on this. The guitars are mellow, not in your face. There's not sort of excessive guitar solos. It's very laid back. It's got a very sort of jazz feel to it. I think there's a bit of double bass on tap here. Very understated, but thoroughly appealing. So the Spice of Life, next up, 3.5 minutes, continues this sort of gentle, laid back jazz feel. Didn't realise how much rhythm acoustic guitar Tracy plays on this album, but I suppose that comes with dissecting it. There's some nice arrangement on this, very much in the same vein. Checking a measly 1 minute 39, the Dust Bowl. It's an acoustic guitar, but it's got a lovely sort of up and down the fretboard type of chord structure, and it's a pure delight. Once again, a love song, as tends to be the case with this couple. Why not? And it really is a joy to listen to. But don't get too into it, because it's over as soon as you blink. So Crab Walk is next. It's an instrumental. It really is jazz overflowing here. There's two extremely tasteful solos, one by the flugelhorn trumpet and then by sax, and there's a rhythmic horn section throughout to a picking style acoustic guitar. I assume that's what, but I'm not too sure, but it reminds one of, well, a little bit of, there's some other tracks a little further and more Stan Getz, but it's very much in the mould. The chord guitar, electric guitar style is reminds me a little bit of that black guitar player, and his name escapes me at the moment, but first class stuff. Frost and Fire appears to be up next. I'm not quite sure where Even So went, but there's some spiralling jazz style guitar which trinkles up the fretboard. Thorn's vocals are so absorbing, really make this band special. No great surprises, but another tasty track. Fascination follows. It's very much a Thorn song, this. Vocals dominate. There's a fleeting, I call it strings, but I guess they're horns, very light horns at the background. Acoustic guitar again, sort of leading this sort of folk bossa nova style, and there's an impeccable couple of sax breaks which really make you wish you were in that room listening to that jazz sound with possibly your favourite friend, female or male. So that's Fascination.
Once again, as you walked out on, now I see you no more. You kissed my head as you stood in the door. Then you said that you bore. In retrospect, there's something I can regret. I was missing your love, but not yours. There's no gift that you gave me each time. Thinking again, what a fool I was in. It was a trophy of yours, a burden of mine. As we stood in the door, let you say, don't wanna see you no more. All I could say, as you walked out on me, you remember your key. Took one last look, took a photo of it. I must confess I agree.
Charlie Bird. Charlie Bird Parker. So see, Charlie Bird. Don't know what happened to even so. Possibly the penultimate track, but I listened tentatively to the lyric. Didn't hear that title. Closer is Soft Touch, sang by Ben at the microphone. It's once again a very sort of folk sort of style tune. Nice ending, but in conclusion, some people might find that this album it has too many similar tracks, but it's got a sort of feel to it. It's got a for a debut, it is very, very competent, and it doesn't overdo the instrumentation. You don't feel like, you know, you're swallowed up with too many ideas. Obviously the intro, where I reflected on the fact that it's got that bossa nova orchestral type jazz feel to it with those horn solos, goes without saying, but it's very much for its time. It's not an album that's sort of too nostalgic, although clearly I can remember this album, and it was a very, very radical sort of style of music, and from there on in, many other bands copied this amalgam. So altogether, great to go back and listen to it in detail, and that's the 1984 debut by Everything But the Girl, called Eden, featuring Ben Watt on keyboards, guitar, vocals, lead on a couple of tracks, and Tracy Thorn on vocals, lead vocals and acoustic guitar. Wonderful stuff. Just a footnote, I referenced Charlie Bird, who died in 1999. His he's best known for his association with Brazilian music, especially bossa nova. And in '62 he collaborated with Stan Getz on the album Jazz Samba. I think I've got that somewhere, which brought bossa nova into the mainstream of North American music. And so I will have to check him out. And he's also had a prolific career in this style of music. So I hope that adds to your enjoyment.